Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back with a new Viking Orations. Got another review for you today, and this time I'm going to be talking about the debut full-length album from the band Visions of Annihilation, entitled The Inception of Chaos. Now, if you're not familiar with Visions of Annihilation, they are a brutal death metal band out of Edinburgh, Texas. They've been around, I want to say, since 2018, as that was around the time their first single had come out, featuring, excuse me, John Trevino on guitars and drum programming. He is also in the band's Cryptic Mutation and Blast Perversion, among others. You have Izzy Garcia handling the vocals and drum programming. He is also in Blast Perversion. And finally, Wilfred Garcia on bass. Now, he did not actually perform the bass on this album because he had actually joined the band after recording had finished. So even though he is credited as being a member of the band right now, he did not play the bass on here. That was actually recorded by Joshua Lopez of Widowmaker Studios, just to clarify. Now, as I said, this is their debut full-length album. It is 9 tracks, just under 44 minutes in length, and what a listen. After a slow building intro, you're just hit in the face with the blast beats and the heavy guitars. And in fact, the intro, that build up almost has a little bit of a somberness to it in a way. It kind of really lures you in. I love the guitar work on here. They're heavy tone, just hitting you with these mid to fast paced riffs with some, slower and heavier chugged sections. At times, though, I feel the guitars have a little bit of a Nile feel to them, and there were even some sections throughout the album that I even picked up a little bit of a Fear Factory, vibe off of them. Track number 2, Immaculate Demise. There's actually a section in that song where the riff and bass combination reminded me a little bit of the song Failure in the Flesh by Through the Eyes of the Dead, which is like one of my all-time favorite songs anyway. But yeah, so some really good guitar work to be found here. I loved the bass tone. It's nice and thick, not overly high up in the mix, yet it's very easily heard throughout the entire album, laying down that solid backbone for all of these songs. And as I said, the drums are programmed on here, yet I think they're done really well, as you'd think it was actually a real drummer with maybe some triggers on his kick drums, simply because of how fast the double bass can get at times. But other than that, there was a good snap to the snare, and despite being really fast double bass work on here, I thought the kick drums had a really good sound to them, and I just love the blast beats on here. Track number 3, Prison of Carnage. In addition to the, really fast double bass that is found throughout this album, there's actually a section here that has some really cool kick patterns that just kind of stood out to me, and I thought it sounded really cool. Now, vocally, you get it like a heavier, kind of mid-range growl, yet they get even lower at times, and he mixes in some nice screams as backing vocals. And I like how they actually layer the two different styles at times, though that's not overly done, because some bands, they like to layer the two style of vocals, but it gets kind of annoying because they just constantly do it. But this was done really well, I thought. And even at times, I'm kind of reminded slightly of Sven from Aborted and just how his vocals sounded. The only other thing I picked up when I listened to this, track number 6, Into the Unknown. I absolutely loved this instrumental on here, as it acts as a nice brief reprieve from the ass kicking of the previous 5 tracks. The guitars here even have this, sort of surreal, ethereal feel to them, because you've spent 5 tracks getting your ass kicked by blast beats and heavy guitars, and now you get this kind of, moment to kind of catch your breath and then move on. Overall, I think this is just an absolute banger of a debut, and it's yet again another good example of Texas brutality. It kicks you in the teeth after luring you in with that intro, and only gives you just a brief moment to kind of gather yourself before pummeling you for another 3 tracks. The album is heavy, yet it's catchy enough that you just want to revisit it over and over like a glutton for punishment. Just when you get your ass kicked by the riffs and the blast beats. I give this a solid 9 out of 10. Go check out Visions of Annihilation. I will leave links down below so you can check this out for yourself and pick up a copy. Like I said, this is out now through Ossuary Industries. That is going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.